Salam and peace. This is Imam Malik Mujahid, and you're watching Muslim Network TV. We are on Galaxy 19 satellite, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, Roku, and a whole lot of social media 24/7, but also on muslimnetwork.tv, which is our website, muslimnetwork.tv. I came to United States in 1977. I was here just for 5 days for some lectures, but I made sure that they include in my itinerary Houston. Why Houston? Because of NASA. So I have been interested in that. As a matter of fact, when I was a student at Karachi University, I invited NASA astronauts who have gone to moon, and they brought a little piece of moon with them to show. All that came into my memory when I was sitting a couple of years ago in Los Angeles. And it was about my human rights volunteerism. I wanted people to know about what's happening in Eastern Turkestan, which China calls it Xinjiang, which literally means new colony. And I requested Dr. Erkin Sidick because we have seen some of his video presentations and how thoughtfully, rationally, and passionately he speaks about what's happening there. And when I heard him, I saw, he showed a photo, and photo is surrounded by in Eastern Turkestan by about 25 students and professors and scientists. And then he told us none of them is found free right now. They are in concentration camps. That's where I learned he is from NASA, and I always wanted to talk to him. So it is a great pleasure that we have him today. It is welcome to Muslim Network TV, Dr. Erkin Sidick.
It is my pleasure, and thank you very much for this opportunity to speak with you and the other audiences.
Yes. So you help NASA look into the skies, and one of our ancestors, more than 1,000 years ago, there was a gentleman named Ibn al-Haytham or al-Hasan. He is considered father of the modern optics, although he was 1,000 years ago. That Muslim mathematician, the glasses which sometime I use came into invention by him, and the cameras on our cell phone. So not cell phone, but camera. He's inventor of camera and father of modern optics. And so it's a long tradition of Muslim scientists which are involved in there. So Dr. Erkin Sidick is a scientist. He joined NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratories, California Institute of Technology in January 2004. He's currently working as a senior optical engineer on various space telescope projects, such as WFIRST, which is renamed now, for direct detection of habitable exoplanets, which is set to be launched in 2025. Dr. Erkin Sidick has authored and co-authored 108 publications, including journal papers, book chapters, and conference presentations, and have 3 patents to himself. He is from Eastern Turkestan, which China calls it Xinjiang, which literally means new colony. China is not known to speak much truth nowadays, except with naming Xinjiang correctly, that it is new colony. They occupied it a while ago. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you too.
I know in California it's a little earlier than the Midwest. So tell us, what are the most exciting things now in the area of optics and how people are capable of looking into the universe? You as an engineer and a PhD in that field are helping scientists being able to look deeper and better. So, what is the leading edge on that area?
Yes, the field, the NASA does a lot of things, and even the astronomy and the space has many frontiers. The area that I am working is a space telescope to detect exoplanets directly. We are looking for exoplanets that can have life, we call habitable planets. The NASA has a
Just
program.
describe to people what are those exoplanets. What does that
Yes,
mean?
yes, I will give us brief introduction on that one. NASA has a mission on exoplanet exploration. What this mission does is basically we want to answer like two main questions. One is, where did we come from, the humans? Where did we come from? And the second question is, are we alone? The primary goal of this mission is to discover planets around other stars and characterize their properties and identify candidates that could harbor life. These are the three main goals of this project. If you go out at night and look up the sky, you see a lot of stars. And if you try to count them, you can in a very dark night, you can count about 3,000 at night with the naked eyes. But these stars are very far from us. For example, the closest star to us is 4.26 light years away. The light years is a unit used for astronomers. It's a distance, like a 1 light year is the distance light travels within 1 year. Now, light travels within 1 year for how long? What distance? You have to multiply these numbers. 1 year is 365 days. 1 day is 24 hours. 1 hour is 60 minutes. 1 minute is 60 seconds. And the light travel 300,000 kilometers per second. So if you multiply all this number, you get somewhere around like a 9.4 trillion kilometers in 1 year. Because the universe is so big, and people came up with a unit like this. So we have a lot of stars. The current estimate, there are many estimates about how many galaxies we have in the universe. One estimate says we have about 1 to 200 billion galaxies in the universe. Now, we live in a Milky Way galaxy, one of those 100 to 200 billion galaxies. Our galaxy has about 200 billion stars. So our sun is one of them. So the universe is so big. Because of that reason, the people in NASA, we believe that there might be other planets that can harbor lives. And as I said, it's very far. So far, I looked up today, the people have been continuously discovering exoplanets. So far, like up to today, the total number of exoplanets discovered is 4,201. But these planets are not discovered by direct detection or by directly seeing it with a telescope, for example. The star is about 10 billion times brighter than planet that orbits the star. Because of that reason, if you look at a star with a telescope, you only see the star, not the planet. And as I said earlier, because the star is so far from us, a planet looks like a small ball inside the light of the star. So there's no way to see it with the general telescope. So what we are doing is we are building a new types of telescopes. It is very difficult to make. That's why I joined JPL in 2004, and I have been working on that project all along. The configuration design have changed a couple of times, and we are still have a couple of candidates right now to make it work. So this new type of telescope, what it does is it makes the starlight disappear inside the telescope. When we capture the image and look at in the computer, we make the starlight disappear and create a dark hole. The The dark hole means in that area, the starlight is removed already. When the planet falls into that dark hole, we can see it. So the new telescopes that we are working on it works that way. We make the starlight disappear and detect the planet. After that, we can use other techniques like a spectroscopy and characterize the planet. Its temperature.
The idea is that the star is too bright, uh, hide out the star so you can look at the planet around it.
That's right. The new telescope can do that. So we are building telescopes like that right now. And as you mentioned earlier, the current plan is to launch we originally called it W First Telescope. I work on that one, and it will be launched around 2025. And now the NASA people right now staff estimating that we might be able to get some information about life on exoplanets around 2035. That's our current expectation. We are trying to find something. So that's the current situation about finding exoplanets with life. That's one
So
area.
4,000, those 4,000 which have been already discovered, how close is the closest?
Oh, they are still very far. I don't remember the exact name, the number, but we had one at 40 light years away. 40 light years away. And that one star had like 8 planets or something. I don't remember exactly. Let me see. I can pick it up quickly. I have to put on my glasses. So those stars that were discovered so far, we didn't see. It's 40 light years away. This one is discovered. Let me see. Where is the date? 2017. February 23rd, 2017, it was published. One star had 8 planets, and among them, about 4 of them four of them are possible to be habited, can have life. This one that discovered in 2018. Let me see. So the stars discovered so far are very big. The planets, very big planets like Jupiter. You know, the Jupiter is a gas giant. We call it gas giant. It is very big. When a very large planet like that passes through in front of the mother star, and if you observe it from far, from using a space telescope, the light you observe from that star dips a little bit, like a 0.1%. When the star orbits it, and again, just measuring the light, you can calculate the time of the orbit, how long it takes for the planet to orbit the mother star once. You can measure that and the distance of the orbit from the mother star and the other characteristics. So
why? I mean, I was looking up, and it seems that several of those possible habitable moons are around Jupiter. I mean, unlike other things, Jupiter has, I think, 3 or 4 moons, which NASA considered to be possibly have water and are habitable. Is there a particular reason for it, if you know? I mean, I know you're an engineer, not astronomer, but you live in that environment, right?
Yeah, I cannot answer that question because it's not my area.
Okay.
I know the NASA is planning to investigate several of moons like that has water on it for possible life. But I don't know the reason. I cannot tell you the reason why those moons are so special and they have water. I don't have knowledge in that area. Sorry.
Sure. I mean, Quran tells us that there are other intelligent beings around in the universe, and Hadith tells us there are Earth like us, people like us, but we don't know about them. So scientists have been looking for it. We cannot quite confirm it, but the method of looking how to see things, that's where you are involved. Um, Tell us, I mean, your PhD research is about non-linear optics. Now, when I think of optics, I think of always linear. So, non-linear, what does non-linear optics means?
Yeah, the here the you are referring to two different things. One is that light propagates in a linear trajectory, like for example, pointer. If you use the pointer, it just goes. The light goes in a straight line, and the light has some linear properties and some nonlinear properties. Here, when we say not, my PhD thesis on nonlinear optics, when I say nonlinear, we use some nonlinear properties of some materials to change the property of light. For example, we could generate green light from the red light. Like the light has a spectrum. We could use some light with 800 nanometer wavelengths and let it pass through a nonlinear material, and it convert the wavelengths to 400 nanometer. So we have material that can emit light at 800 nanometer, but not at 400 nanometer. But we need light at 400 nanometer. In that case, we use the nonlinear property of some materials to convert the wavelengths of the light from 800 to 400 nanometer. That's the nonlinear optics that I studied during my PhD. So it is a property of the material that can convert the wavelengths of the light. That's it refers to.
So, is that research which you did, is that research helpful in the actual work which you're doing at NASA?
They're not in the current area. Right now, I work on space telescope. Here, a lot of things are linear. It does not get involved with nonlinear material at all. It is completely different area.
Mm. So, as a senior optical engineer, um, are there more optical engineer? How big? What size team is the one working on this particular project of which was called Way First, but now it is called Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope. Uh, so, how many people work on this?
I don't know the exact number, but I think at least like 50 people working on this project, and from different several NASA centers, not only JPL.
So
Um,
there are all PhDs, or there are other engineers also work on this.
we have PhDs, masters, and bachelor degrees too. It is very it has like a different number. At JPL itself, right now we have about like a 6,000 employees, staff, and the roughly one third has PhD, one third has master, and the rest has bachelor degrees. So it's roughly distributed like that.
You're watching Muslim Network TV. We're on Galaxy 19 satellite, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, and Apple TV. Always on muslimnetwork.tv, our website. And this is Imam Malik Mujahid. I'm talking with Dr. Erkin Siddiq, and we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Muslim Network TV. This is Imam Malik Mujahid, and I'm talking with Dr. Erkin Sidick of NASA. Um, Dr. Sidick, are there other people from Uyghur or Eastern Turkestan who are scientists and working and contributing to America?
Oh yes, we have another sister in Maryland actually. She works at the Goddard Space Flight Center. She's also a PhD in computer science. I was told she works on the processing of the ocean data gathered by satellites. So she also works at NASA Center at the Goddard Space Flight Center. And that sister is actually very faithful, active Muslims, and there's a Muslim group there. She's a member of that group, and she's very active actually in other areas as well.
Great.
Ainur Abdurazak. I don't know if you met her or not.
Okay, we'll review her as well. Our producer wants to know what is gravitational lens.
The gravitational lens is the universe. The people are discovering that a large part of the universe is made of dark matter and the dark energy. The number I remember is about 71% is dark matter, and 20-something% is dark energy. The rest is the regular matter that we know, that we can see. So because of that matter, when the light travel from one place to another, like let us say some light is traveling from a star to us. When it travels, because of this dark matter, the dark matter is such huge, it is very large. It has a gravity. It pulls other things to itself. It even pulls the light to itself. So because of that reason, the light changes path. So if you are looking in this direction and there's a star here and the light propagating in this direction, for example, we have the real photos taken by a Hubble Space Telescope, for example. What you see is the light path is a curved. You see a curve. That curve it happens because of the gravitation of the dark matter. That phenomenon is called the gravitational lens. Okay. So it just acts like a lens. Lens, they change the direction of the light. When the light passes through a lens, you can focus the light, for example. So it changes the direction. So the gravitational lens is a similar characteristic. It just changes the path of the light.
Tell me that, well, in Eastern Turkestan, where were you born, probably sky has much more stars than the cities of America, because we have so much artificial light, we can rarely see what is in the skies. Were you wondering from your childhood about that you want to be a scientist?
I was very interested in electronics when I was little. Like in middle school, when I was in middle school, myself and my older brother, he is 2 years older than me, we worked on building a radio. At that time, the radio is very rare. The people who had a radio are considered to be rich and famous. So when the people walk on the street, when the people who have radio walk on the street, they carried the radio with them and played it loudly, just let people know that he has a radio, kind of. It is an era like that, and we didn't have a radio, so me and my brother started building radio together. We built the radio, just one amplifier, one battery. It didn't have a speaker, but an earphone. And when we were successful the first time, I cried. And my brother and I took turns to take our radio to school. He is one day, and I take the next day, kind of. So that's where I started going into this field. And
you were in middle school at that time.
Yeah, the middle school, like seventh grade, for example. At that time, The elementary to high school is 10 years, not 12 years. So I was at the 7th grade when I started working on that kind of projects. And my brother and I built a lot of different things. With wood, with metal. We worked on different things, making different things basically. And another one is a radio. So I got into that field at that time.
So the the when you were studying at middle school level, was it all Uyghur school taught in Uyghur language, or at that time Chinese and Chinese language was already being imposed?
At that time, all the schools in East Turkestan had a two-language system, Chinese and Uyghur. The elementary school and the middle school I went had both Chinese students and Uyghur students, about half-half. So I was in the Uyghur student class, but we had Chinese students classes as well. It's completely separate. In one campus, but the two system. I studied that way. My whole education until finishing the bachelor degree is in Uyghur language. I finished my all studies with Uyghur language. During the college year, we studied 5 years in college. The first year we studied Han Chinese language, and the 4 years our major. I am an electrical engineering major at that time. And I started, after learning Chinese, I used Chinese to learn English and Japanese by myself.
What was the attitude of Chinese students in the school towards you and other Uyghurs? Were they friendly? Will you have lunch together? Will you play together? Or there was something which you felt as a child?
At school, all the activities are separate. The sports or lunch, everything is separate. But in the place that I work, my daddy's work unit, we had both Chinese employees and Uyghurs employees. We played together with kids. We played together. At that time, the government has some discrimination policy towards minority. The assimilating the minorities, including Uyghurs, was Chinese policy all along. So, like we had some school, like my school is Han Chinese and Uyghurs are combined. We had separate schools, only Han Chinese school and only Uyghur student school, the separate schools. At that time, these two types of school had a huge difference in terms of facility, like a library, the experimental lab, for example, and the sports fields. All those things had a huge difference. The government gave more money to Han schools than the Uyghur schools. But in the individual level, the relationship at that time is much better than what it is now. We had a very harmonical, like a very good relationship. Like you couldn't see like a apparent friction between the two people. At that time, it's
You
pretty.
said the funding of the Hans, which is the Chinese people race-wise, their schools will have higher funding. How high? Was it a ratio 1 to 2, 1 to 10?
1 to 10, you can say 1 to 10.
Because, the reason I'm asking this, I sat on Urumqi main roads and outside school. I saw some kids in Uyghur school bringing their own seat, a little stool or something, or little chair to sit on. And so I could see those things. So you're saying 1 to 10 was the difference in terms of
Up to that much, yes. Up to that much, at least like 2-3 times is very common. So that you could see, if you just pass through the two schools, you can see the difference right away.
So by the time you graduated high school, was the situation a little different? But the Uyghur high school graduates will be giving the same opportunities at the Chinese who were living as a settler in Eastern Turkestan?
No, by the time that I finished high school, the situation got much worse. The reason is in 1965, in China, the Cultural Revolution started. So I graduated in 1976. At that time, the Cultural Revolution went to the peak. the situation got very bad. Like all the mosques are converted to like a pig farm. For example, the Uyghur Muslims were forced to raise pigs, but the Uyghur people didn't eat pig. We didn't have meat, lamb for ourselves, but the pig everywhere. I don't. I remember one scene I can never forget. On a Sunday, one lady loaded a cart, the cow pulled cart with about 10 pigs. She wanted to sell it on the market. She waited the whole day. She couldn't sell it, and at the evening, she just opened the cart door. All the pigs ran away. She just cried and went back home. I had a lot of relatives at that time in farms. So when I went there, because everybody are forced to like if in your household has 7 people, you are forced to raise 7 pigs by the government.
And that you're talking about 70s.
That's right, 70s. That's right. And so I graduated in a time like that. And when I graduated, the China had a policy of re-education. The high school graduates, high school, middle school graduates were forced to go to countryside and work 2 years before getting any employment. And that's what I did. On the day of graduating from high school, I carried my stuff into a farm to work there as a farmer. And the farm I went, there was no electricity. We used a little kerosene lamp in a bottle, one little clothes thing, and just light it. We didn't have any electricity. We didn't have clock. We just worked from sunrise to sunset. I worked there for 1.5 years. And at that time, the Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping came to power, and they changed the education system. We could go to university by exam. So after 1.5 years, I participated in the college entry exam, and I scored number 2 in whole East Turkestan among the Uyghur language exam system. That's how I got into Xinjiang University in
So go
1960.
back a little bit. So whose farm was it? The government assigned you to work on anybody's farm, or it was?
No, at that time, yeah, we had different situations. Some farms owned by the government, and we also had a regular the farms that we call it collective, like a the several hundred people are put together, like a show the small team, big team kind of structure at that time. So some people went there. I worked in a government-owned farm that we grew rice seeds. That's what I did during those 1.5 years.
That's after studying that hard. Now you have to go work. That was Cultural Revolution.
That's right.
You're watching Muslim Network TV. This is Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid. I'm talking with Dr. Erkin Sidick of NASA. We'll be right back after these messages. So you and I were talking with before the break, and you were saying that once the government changed, they allowed students to come out of farms and go and apply, and you were able to get into competitive exams, good top position, and were admitted to the university. Was it throughout? Would you consider that to be sort of a great opening for Uyghur people?
It is. It is actually that policy itself is for whole China, not only Uyghurs. It's everywhere is like that. The re-education system and the college exam, those things took place nationwide. So we took that opportunity to get into college. So that's how I got into college. Otherwise, before that, I just thought that just work hard for 2 years and to get a job somewhere. It doesn't matter what job it is, just to survive. Like just 1.5 years, we are not given any salary or something. We just worked
Oh,
for
so when you were working at farm, you were not given any pay.
no, we just worked for food. That's the government provided us
That was
to.
more like a concentration camp, light concentration camp, I guess, in
That's
those.
right. It's 3 meals. We just worked for 3 meals.
So how many years that little openness last?
The it openness started in 1977. The eradication system continued for a while. Some people could get out because of the entry exam rule, but some people still stayed there for a while. And that one is a big step in China's recent history.
Okay.
That,
And when that little openness, when it began, what city were you in?
I was born and grew up in Aksu. Aksu is 1,000 kilometers south to Urumqi, and 500 kilometers north of Kashgar, for example, is that location. That's where I was born, and I finished the elementary and middle school there. And when I got into university, the Xinjiang University is in Urumqi, the capital of East Turkestan. I went there, and that's how I got
You
out of.
arrived in Urumqi. Were there mosques opening up at that time or no?
Oh, we had several big mosques in Urumqi. Even today, there are still few, but now it changed completely. If you go to Urumqi right now, the door, the front door is completely closed. There's a barrier in front, so it's off limits for anybody. Only when the delegations from the other country or government official come to a visit, they open this door. And I heard many stories. The government organized Uyghur people to go there and pray in Jummah. It was organized, forced.
Yeah.
Even like people are given 100.
When did this openness, which transformed China and allowed some opening for Uyghur people also, which were occupied by China, when that policy start transforming into the phase in which Uyghur websites were banned? I mean, when this change of ban of Uyghur websites and all those things started?
The change started like from early 2010s, like 2014, 15, like that. The websites, I used to publish articles in Uyghur website. I could do it until January of 2017. My last article was published in January of 2017, and the last website was closed at that time. So the situation became really bad starting early 2017.
Worsening for 2010 and became worst possible on 2017.
That's
So
right.
people saying suddenly concentration came into being in 2017
That's right.
is not true. It has started build-up of Chinese operation after a little bit of opening. It started in 2010 or so.
That's
When
right.
was the last time you were able to visit Eastern Turkestan?
2009. 2009 is the last time I went back, and after that, I applied for a visa a couple of times, but it was rejected by the embassy in the U.S.
So 2010 came the closing and all that. You showed me when I first time met you in Los Angeles talking about Uyghur people. You showed everybody present there a photo. You're standing with the students and scientists and professors. And I remember very clearly that you said all those students and professors are in concentration camp. What is the current state of that? Do you have any communication to know if some of them have been released?
No, my communication is Turkestan cut off completely since early 2017. I cannot contact anybody, including my families. The the photo you saw that day, I was the student asked me to come to campus and take pictures with me. I was very well known back home among young people for several reasons. Even when I was studying at Xinjiang University, I did very well academically. And as I said earlier, I learned three languages in addition to my major, electrical engineering. And I held very high positions in student organizations. Like I was the president of Xinjiang University Student Association and the president of Student Federation of Xinjiang, and also the vice president of All China Student Federation at that time. Because of this, I was publicized a lot. The young people knew me. But after I came to the America and got into NASA, the young people even knew me even more. So when I went back to visit my families, a lot of students wanted to meet with me. Basically, they wanted to ask like how they can go abroad to study. How should they prepare for that? Those are kind of questions. When the students in Xinjiang University asked me to come, I asked the police if I can go there. And they said, okay, you can go, but don't give presentation. Don't go to classroom. Don't go to any hall. Give presentation. You are not allowed to do that. I said, okay. I just went there. I was expecting like 10, 20 students. But when I went there, like close to like more than 200 students showed up. So we had that question answer session for about 2 hours. The question is mainly three questions. I restricted the questions. One is how I studied when I was at Xinjiang University. That's the first question. Second question is how they should prepare themselves to study abroad. The third question is what I do at NASA. This kind of questions. I didn't know at that time. We had the session, and one of my very good friend took video. He wanted to prepare a video DVD tape, the disc for me. But 1 week later, the police came to his house and confiscated his camera. I didn't get that video. But the one strange thing is, I heard earlier this year, that before I went to Xinjiang University, the government, the authorities put camera on all those trees where we held our gathering for 3 days. They made preparation for 3 days, putting camera. It's next to the lake. That's why we had our question and answer session. So they took video of all the people. Now, when the authorities started just putting Uyghurs in concentration camps.
So that was in 2009, which was a relatively better time.
That's right. And so they organized it. The reason they allowed me to go, they all had planned already, just to figure out like who will come to meet with me, which students will meet with me, kind of thing. And when this concentration thing started, the authorities gave quota for each district, how many people to put in the concentration camp. So they had a list of crimes that qualifies people to go to concentration camp. And one of the crimes is meet with me or communicate with me by email. Just one of the crimes. So all the students are gone. The students who communicated with me about asking for advice, how to go to abroad, they're also gone. They're all gone. I can tell you another thing. In 2006, that's my another visit to my back home. I couldn't go back from 1991 until 2006 for 15 years. I couldn't go back for several reasons. One is economic. I was studying and I didn't have any income, so I had to work half time and study half time. And also, we invited our parents to America, both me and my wife. And our parents' income is not enough for buying the tickets to America, so we had to buy the tickets. So we saved money and invited them to America. And in 1998, the Uyghur American Association was founded. I was the founding member at the time, board of director. After that, the Chinese government put me in the blacklist, so I couldn't go back for 15 years. When I went back in 2006, I invited all of my relatives in Aksu to come to Aksu city from farms and have a gathering. We had a dinner together. At that time, we got about 80 people, my relatives. Early this year, there was a meeting, or there was a wedding. This wedding is the son of my cousin had a wedding in Aksu, and some relative sent me the video, and I looked at the video. I saw less than 20 people in that wedding.
Hmm.
You know what this means? That most people are gone. Because my relationship is cut off completely. I couldn't figure out who's still outside, who are in the camp. I couldn't figure that out. My wife has a family, the cousin family, with 8 cousins, 8 kids in one family. 5 of them are taken away to the concentration camp. 5 of them among 8 siblings. The situation is so severe. So right now, I even don't know who's alive, who's dead, and who's where. Even I don't know that, I don't have the kind of information about my relatives.
Dr. Sidick, I know you're active in support of Uyghur people, and we are very thankful because so many people want to remain silent because of the fear. But thank you so much for being brave to speak up, educate people, guide people, and answer us, those who are need to be done and how it need to be done. So thank you so much for your work. Tell me this thing, as a student leader, were you already aware of what China is doing to Eastern Turkestan, and were part of your activism at that time included speaking up for Uyghur people?
It is part of it. Actually, I can tell you another story. When I completed my bachelor degree, the government gave me 2 options. One is to work in my academic field, another one became a government official. I was selected for important positions at that time already, and when I graduated, the party secretary of the Xinjiang University called me to his office and gave me this offer. So the one of the offers is to work as a government official. That way I can in the future become the president of Xinjiang University, maybe even the president of Xinjiang, for example. And he said, okay, if you go to this path, you will have a chauffeur, you will have cook, and most of your work is to go to parties, the dinners, official dinners. The work is very easy, you make a lot of money, and the life is so beautiful. That's what he told me. But if you go to academic, you will work very hard, life is hard, and you don't make that much money, but he let me choose. When I was a student of the official, and to many meetings, and I had this opportunity to contact with the Chinese government officials in many levels, and I didn't like that. I had to constantly lie because telling the truth get you into trouble. So I had this discrepancy between what student want and what the official want, school official want. I was in the middle. I always got into where I had a hard time to put them, make both sides happy, and I had to lie. Because of that, I didn't like to become a government official. I said, that's not me. I cannot work like that. I cannot lie, and whatever I have in my mind, it shows up on my face. I said, if I work as a government official, maybe I can survive only 6 months. I will go to jail after that. So I didn't take that path. I took academic path. That's where I am right now.
Well,
So
thank
the reason,
you
no,
for
come back.
choosing that path. That's an honorable path instead of choosing easy in life. And that's how civilization move forwards. You know, that's a loss for China. And it's a gain for America. I mean, there was a time when in Timbuktu, Mali, there were 500 years ago, there were more foreign students studying in Arabic language, science, astronomy, religion, and whatnot. And today in America, I mean, you're contributing to human civilization because you chose a path which was of education, knowledge, science, instead of just being making money. So thank you so much for being with us at Muslim Network TV. We truly appreciate your time. And you're watching Muslim Network TV. This is where amazing conversation takes place. For example, a scientist who looking at clear skies and stars wanted to become a scientist in a difficult situation in an occupied territory by China. And he grew up, he studied, he worked hard, he had to suffer through being in sort of a labor camp, working on somebody's farm, but he kept choosing science and knowledge. And that's what NASA and America and human civilization is benefiting from. So thank you so much, Dr. Erkin Sidick, and thank you, Dr. Abdul Wahid, for producing today's show. You have been watching Muslim Network TV on Galaxy 19 satellite, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, and Apple TV. And we're always there on our own website, muslimnetwork.tv. Peace.